says the graph. There is the graph there of f of x and the graph of g of x. The graph of f of x and the graph of g of x. Because of the squared here on this graph, automatically you should be knowing that this one is the a parabola. Because of that squared there, you know that that is a parabola. And it's easy to factorize because it's x squared minus 4, difference of two squares. And because of the highest exponent is 1 here, already you know that this one is the straight line. And as you can see, really you've got two graphs. The other one is the parabola, the other one is a straight line. So you know that the other one, remember, Konje, what did I say about g of x and f of x? What did I say? Anyone who remembers me saying something about g of x, f of x? What did I say?
They represent y.
Thank you. Immediately you see f of x, you see y. Immediately you see g of x, you represent its y. The reason we're writing g of x, f of x is because we want to differentiate which y are we talking about. Okay, so we're told that a and b are the x-intercept. Guys, make sure that you read. A and b are what? X-intercept. How do you find the x-intercept? Someone remind me. How do we find the x-intercept on a graph? Let's talk. How do we find the x-intercept on a graph? My people are quiet. When you're looking for the x-intercept, in space of y, you put 0. When you're looking for the x-intercept, you let y to be 0. So that is how we're going to find the coordinates of A and the coordinates of B. That is how we're going to find that. Because on this line, the x-axis, on this line, the value of y is equals to 0 on that line. That is how we're going to find the x values, the x-intercept. And they are saying C and D are the y-intercept. Someone who remembers, what did I say about the y-intercept? What do you do to find the y-intercept? Someone who remembers, please remind us.
At x is 0.
Thank you. So we know that for us to find the coordinates of D and the coordinates of C, wherever we see x, we're going to put what? 0. We're going to put 0. Because we know that on the y-axis, x is equals to 0. Now, they are saying K is a point on G. K is a point on G such that BK, we can see BK there, is parallel to the x-axis. They made a mistake there. I think they wanted to say it's parallel to the y-axis. But they wrote parallel, but here they wrote perpendicular. It doesn't make sense. It's parallel to the x-axis, means it is perpendicular to the x-axis. Perpendicular to the x-axis. Okay. Now from there, we are told that F and G, they intersected A and E. Point of intersection. Anyone who remembers me, what did I say about the point of intersection? Someone who remembers? Point of intersection, what did I say?
It is where the two graphs meet.
The two graphs, they meet. It means at that point, two graphs are equal. It can be more than two graphs, but at that point, the point of intersection, the graphs are equal. They are equal. Meaning at this point, f of x, uyalingana no g of x, or g of x uyalingana no f of x. At this point, that is what we know. Now, I want us to answer the questions. We can just simplify further, trying to understand better, but let's just go to answering the questions. Now, if we go to answering the questions, the first question says determine the coordinates of C. Now, what you need to ask yourself, what is C on this graph? Is C the turning point? Oh, okay, let's use the x-intercept and y-intercept. We'll use the turning point later. Is C the x-intercept? Is C the y-intercept? Or C the intersection point? What is C on this graph?
The y-intercept.
Thank you. So we are going to look for the y-intercept by saying what? X is equals to 0. So which graph are we going to use? To get the coordinates of C, are we going to use F or we are going to use G? We want the coordinates of C. Are we going to use F or we are going to use G?
F, sir.
Why should we use F, not G? Remember, she's not the only one. Let's answer. I agree with her. We're going to use F. Yes?
Yes,
Yes?
because C, like the point of C is on a parabola graph.
Thank you. Because the point C is on the F graph. So our focus now is the F graph. The point C is on the F graph. Now, we said C is the y-intercept. So we're going to say y is equals to, in place of x, we put 0 squared minus 4. Why are we putting 0? Because on the y-intercept or on the y-axis, x is 0. So we find our answer, which is saying y is equals to how much?
-4.
Thank you. Our y value will be -4. If I write the coordinates, it should be coordinates of C, x is 0 and y is -4. I'm gonna pause and wait for a question if you have, guys. I'm waiting for a question if any of you have. No question. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Now we want the coordinates of D. Now we want the coordinates of D. You still ask yourself a question. D, is it the x-intercept? Is it the y-intercept? Or is the point of intersection? What is D? Anyone?
Y-intercept.
Y-intercept. So my question again would be, are we going to use the F graph to find the coordinates of D, or we're going to use the G graph to find the coordinates of D? Which one are we going to use?
G graph.
Why should we use G graph, not the F graph?
Because D is on the straight line graph.
Thank you. And the straight line graph is the G graph. So we've got y is equals to -x plus 2. Since you guys are saying this is the y-intercept, I'm going to remove x, and then in space of x, I'm going to put how much? 0. Because on the y-intercept or on the y-axis, x is 0. Then we get the answer that says y is equals to how much?
2.
+2 or -2.
+2.
Thank you. Then the coordinates will be x is 0 and then y is +2. Those are the coordinates of D. I'm still going to pause and wait for a question if you guys have. Okay, since there is no question, we move on. We move on since there is no question. Okay. Now, calculate the length or determine the length of CD. What is the distance from C to D? That is what they are saying. Calculate the length of CD or determine the length of CD. How am I going to calculate the length of CD?
By using the distance formula.
Okay, no problem. Let's use the distance formula. Do we know the coordinates of D? Okay, let's write down the coordinates of D. If you guys are saying we know them, let's write them down. What are the coordinates of D?
0 and 2.
0 and +2. And then what are the coordinates of C? 0 and -4. So the distance between CD is equals to the square root of ithini formula konje?
Square root
Yes.
x2 minus x1 all squared.
X2 minus x1 all squared. Yes. Plus ne?
Yes.
Okay.
y2 minus y1.
y2 minus y1 all squared. Now, I want to use x2.
Sir,
Yes.
is it not wrong if I say xd minus xc squared plus yd minus yc?
Yeah, it's not wrong. It's not wrong because you are saying x at d minus x at c. That means x at point number 1 or point number 2 minus the x at the other point, and then all squared. And then you do the same thing with y at point D minus y at point C. Someone will be saying y at point C minus y at point D. Is the same thing that I'm doing. Exactly the same thing. Are we okay? Can I pass?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now, what would be my x2?
0.
x2 0. Okay. x2 0 0 minus, what would be my x1?
0.
0 also squared plus my y2 will be how much?
2.
Positive 2 minus my y1 would be how much?
Negative 4.
Can I write plus?
Yes.
Because we know that negative multiplied by negative, it keeps positive. So we're going to write plus 4 there. Plus 4. Okay? All to the power 2. Remember, I said this kind of questions, you do 3 steps. Step number 1, formula. Step number 2, substitution. Step number 3, answer. What is the answer?
6.
Thank you. 6 units. 6 units. But someone can say, no. Mina, I understand gamma functions very well. I'm okay with this. I know what to do here. I know the distance from O to D. What is the distance from O to D?
2.
2 units. Thank you. Remember, distance we usually represent it with the positive number. So what is the distance from O to C? What is the distance from O to C?
4.
Get class. The distance from O to C is how much?
4.
4. Now, if I say the distance from O to D is 2 and the distance from O to C is 4, will I be right if I'm saying the distance from D to C is 6 because I'm adding that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's do that. Let me write it here to say you can say the distance of CD is going to be the distance of OD plus the distance of OC, which is going to be equals to 2 plus 4. And I believe we can agree that the answer will be equals to 6. Okay. I don't know if there is a question. Is there any question? No question. Let's move on to the coordinates of B. Coordinates of B. Is B the x-intercept, the y-intercept, the point of intersection? What is B?
X-intercept.
X-intercept. So we need to find the x-intercept by saying let y equals to 0. On the F graph or on the G graph? X-intercept on the F graph or on the G graph?
I think on the F graph, sir.
Okay, it is on the F graph value. If you check, it is on the F graph. That is the F graph there. So it's passing on the F graph. So we're looking for the x-intercept on the F graph. So the F graph is saying what? Is saying x squared f of x is equals to x squared minus 4. For us to get the x-intercept, if you remember very well, we said in space of y, we are going to put 0 there. So we're going to remove that and then put how much? 0. There is my 0 there. Then what is going to be my next step? Hello, I'm still there.
When you open two brackets,
We transpose X.
Transpose x. Yes, I can do that. After transposing x, what do I do? Okay, Valoy was saying something. You were asking.
when you open two brackets,
You remember what I said about asking me questions?
you will open two brackets.
Thank you. We are going to open two brackets. And the one who's saying transpose, you are not wrong also. You'll put the square root both sides. So we open two brackets, then we factorize. If we factorize, what are the factors?
X plus 2,
X plus 2,
x minus 2.
x minus 2. If and only if you can see that that is difference of two squares. How do you know it's difference of two squares? X squared is a square number. U4 naye, it's also a square number. So because of that, then we know it's difference of two squares. Then we've got x plus 2 equals to 0, or x minus 2 equals to 0. Then what do we have from here? X is equals to how much? Someone talk to me.
-2.
Thank you. Negative 2. And then the other one, x is equals to how much?
Positive 2.
Positive 2. Looking at the coordinates of b for the x value, is the b going to take the positive 2 or is going to take the negative 2, and why?
The -2.
Negative 2, why?
It's on the negative side of the x-axis.
Thank you. Negative side on the x-axis. So our coordinates of b will be negative 2 and 0. Done with the coordinates of b. Any question? No question? Then we move on. Coordinates of E. Coordinates of E. What is E? Is it the x-intercept? Is it the y-intercept? Is it the point of intersection? What is E?
Point of intersection.
Okay. E is the point of intersection. Anyone who remembers, what did I say about the point of intersection? Okay. What did I say about finding the coordinates of the point of intersection?
We'll equalize the graphs.
We equalize the graphs. So for us to find the coordinates of E, we equalize the graphs. The graphs that we have, let me go back there so that we can see. The graphs that we have is x squared minus 4. That is f of x is equals to g of x. Equalize the graphs. What is f of x? F of x is x squared minus 4 equals to, what is g of x? g of x is negative x plus 2. I don't know if you guys have got a question. If you have, please ask. That is 5.5. Any question? Okay, no question. Now, what should I do from here? I need to move on from here. What should I do? Now you need to understand to solve for x from here. What do I do?
Collect terms.
Select terms on the same side. Can I say x squared plus x minus 4 plus 2? Can I do that? Unless if I'm making a mistake. Did I make any mistake? Oh, it's minus 2.
Sir.
Minus 2, ne? Thank you for that. It's minus 2. I need to transpose negative of x is positive, and positive of 2, it should be negative. So I've got minus there. Okay, I know Kwanda, you did that part. And then how much do we get here? We've got x squared plus x, and then minus how much?
Minus 6.
Minus 6 equals to 0. What should I do from here?
Factorize.
Factorize. Let's factorize. We are looking for the factors of x squared, that is x and x. We are looking for the factors of 6, that is 6 and 1. 6 and 1, and also 2 and 3. So we write x there, we write x there. Now this is what I usually, remember I'm also doing revision. This is what I usually explain to the grade 9 learners. I say to them, for them to know which factor to take, they must add and also subtract. So when we add these two numbers, 1 plus 6, we get how much?
7.
And then after adding, if it's not giving them what they want, I say they must subtract. So when you subtract those two numbers, don't worry about the signs. We'll worry about the signs later. Let's subtract those two numbers, 1 and 6. How much do we get? Hello? We're still on 1 and 6. We added, we got 7. Let's subtract, we get how much?
5.
Thank you. But we are looking for positive 1. So we get 7 and 5. So it means these factors will not work for us. But let's add these ones. When we add, we get how much?
5.
5. Let's subtract them. When we subtract, we get how much?
1.
And we're looking for 1. So we're going to take those factors, 2 and 3. Now, from here, we need to know. Now we can worry about the signs. We are sure that the factors, x and x is the factor, 2 and 3 is the factor. Now we just worry about the sign. Which one will be positive? Which one will be negative?
2 negative.
2 will be negative, 3 will be positive. Why are you not saying the signs will be negative, negative, or positive, positive?
So we can't have negative and negative because 6 is negative and negative multiplied together makes a positive.
Thank you. Straight to the point. There's no need for me to add there. Okay. Thank you. Now from here, we've got the x is x minus 2 equals to 0, or x plus 3 equals to 0. Then the first one will be x is equal to how much?
Positive 2.
Positive 2. The next one will be x is equal to how much?
Negative 3.
Negative 3. Now, between positive 2 and negative 3, which one will qualify to be the x at E? Positive 2 or negative 3?
Negative 3.
Okay, negative 3. So we know that the x coordinate at E will be -3. Done. We are 100% sure of that. So automatically we know that the x coordinate, which is 2, will be at A, because A is the point of intersection and also E is the point of intersection. Okay, now that we know that our answer that we are looking for is -3, how are we going to get Y? How are we going to get Y? We are going to substitute X, substitute X equals to -3 in either on G of X or on F of X, not both, either on G of X or on F of X. So which one do we choose? Do we choose G of X or do we choose F of X? My people are still quiet. No problem. Let's say we're taking the G of X. What is G of X saying? Y is equals to -x plus 2. But I'm looking for Y. I know X. So I'm going to remove X because I know it. And I'm going to put the one that I know on X, which is how much? -3. So I've got Y is equals to negative into -3 plus 2. What answer do I get for Y? Someone talk to me.
5.
We get 5. So our Y value is +5. Okay. Wow. I don't know what happened there. Our Y value is +5. Y is equals to +5, meaning our coordinates will be X is -3, sorry for that, and then Y is +5. That is the coordinates of E. But someone can say, no, I mean, I'm gonna use G of X, I mean F of X. No problem. If you use F of X, you've got Y is equals to open the brackets, in space of X, -3 close bracket squared minus 4, and then you press the calculator. You get Y is equals to how much? I'm waiting for the answer, by the way. That's why I'm quiet.
5.
Thank you. 5. So either you substitute on F of X or you substitute on G of X, it works the same way. Can I repeat myself on the point of intersection? The point of intersection is where the graphs are equal. And how do you find the coordinates of X and Y on the point of intersection? To find the coordinates of the X coordinate, equalize the two graphs. Equalize them. After equalizing them, simplify and then solve for X. In this case, we found that we've got a trinomial. We factorized, we find that X is 2 and X is -3. Now you've got two X values. We want one. Check the quadrant to know which one should I choose. After choosing, you must find Y. How are you going to find Y? Take the X value, substitute on any of the two graphs. That is how you are going to get the Y value. My explanation is done. Do we have a question? No question. Okay. We're almost there. For which values of X? For which values of X? Allow me to avoid this mess by taking this down here. Let's take it down here. For which values of X? For which values of X? Yesterday I explained these things. I explained F of X is greater than 0, F of X is less than 0, and f of x is greater than g of x, and f of x is less than g of x. And anyone who remembers, what did I say here? F of x is greater than 0. Someone who remembers? What did I say? Anything that comes into your head? What do you remember me saying? Wow, my people are quiet again. What about f of x greater than g of x? Anything that you remember me saying? Yes, someone's microphone is on. Talk. I don't know who's that. You can talk, I'm listening. Okay.
Sir,
Yes, please.
you said x is greater than -2 or x is less than negative. Is less than 0.
Okay. Let's say I'm trying to understand because I don't know maths, and I hear you talking about those numbers. Then I'm gonna be a little bit lost. What do you mean? How did we come to those numbers? How did we conclude with those numbers? Okay, let's say it like this. F of x is y. Do we still remember that? And we say greater than 0. So we're looking for y where it is greater than 0. So where is y greater than 0? Y is greater than 0 in these two quadrants, quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. Y is greater than 0. Greater than 0 means positive. Y is positive in these two quadrants. But remember, this graph is moving that way, meaning it's including the value x values. As it goes there is an x value there, there is an x value there, it was different if it was just straight. No, now it's not straight, it's going that way. So there is an x value, there is an x value. Even this side is also going that side. So there is an x value, kanjalo. Now, when I'm saying greater than 0, I'm saying, to understand this thing, remember, your answer is x. But how do you get x? You look for y. Equation et, where is y positive? Let me highlight. Where is y positive? Where is y positive? Starting from which point up to which point? So if we check, when we check this graph, starting from this point, going up to that side, y is positive. I mean, it's positive, yes, because as you go up, y is positive. Even here, starting from this point going up, y is also positive. So for me to answer the question that is saying f of x is greater than 0, my answer will be, what is the value of x here? The value of x is -2. What is the value of x here? +2. So starting from x is equals to, remember, when I start from here and I'm going to that side, am I going to the greater than -2 or I'm going to less than -2? I'm expecting an answer. Am I going to the greater than -2? Check, I repeat myself. I'm starting from this number and I'm going that way. Am I going to the greater than -2 or I'm going to the less than -2?
Less than.
I think it's less than.
Thank you. I'm going to the less than -2. So to write the answer correctly, I'm going to say x is less than -2. But because I'm going that way and I'm jumping a space in between, I'm gonna say or, so that I can talk about the other side. If I'm talking about the other side and I'm starting from 2 and I'm going that side, Am I going to the less than 2 or I'm going to the greater than 2?
Greater than 2.
Then I'm going to say x is greater than 2. Then I've answered the question that says f of x is greater than 0. Question if you have? No question. Since there is no question, we move on. Next question. Next question. I'm done with the greater than 0. What does the less than 0 mean? Less than 0. Less than 0 means y is negative. Less than 0 means y is negative. Y is less than. But the question is, where is y negative? Y is negative in these two quadrants. Y is negative there. At any point in those two quadrants, y is negative. Now, since we know that y is negative in those two quadrants, then it means if we can understand that y start being negative from negative 2, negative, 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 up to positive 2. Remember, my answer is y, but I'm looking for, my answer is x, but I'm looking for y to direct me to get the answer. So for me to answer the question that it says f of x is less than 0, my answer in the case of this example will be x lies between negative 2 and positive 2. I'm gonna pause and wait for a question. I'm waiting for a question. No question. How many minutes are we remaining with? My people are still not talking.
So it's not showing.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Let's talk about this part. We've got our f of x greater than g of x. In the case of this one that we're talking about now, f of x greater than g of x, it means f of x is moving above. The graph of f is moving above. That's why we're saying it's greater. Moving above g of x. Where does it start moving above? Where does it end moving above? Now, I usually advise learners that for you to be able to answer such a question, the above and the below, the best way is to draw a line from the top. If you draw a line from the top, let me start here. If you draw a line from the top, the graph that I touch first is the one above. If I draw a line at any point here, the graph I touch first is the one above. The one above, it is greater. Okay, now if we check, obviously this one we know is gonna go like that until. So the first graph will always touch here will be the f graph. But if I come to this point, the first graph I touch is the g graph. Now, even this side, when I move from the top, the first graph I touch is the f graph. But when I move from here, the first graph I touch is the f graph. Now, what does that mean? The lines are just to show you which graph is on top. The one you touch first is the one on top. Okay, meaning is the one greater. We want the one greater. Where is f of x greater? If you check f of x is on top here. If you draw a line, it's going to touch that graph first. And again, f of x is also on top here. Do we have a question before we can answer that? No question. Okay. But now we need to know the x value here. What is the x value here? X is equal to how much? We just calculated that.
-3.
-3. And this one we know. So, if I start from -3 and I'm going that way, am I going to the greater than or the less than -3?
Less than.
So my answer would be x is less than negative 3. And then I'm jumping a space, so it means I must say or. Okay, can I write or with a small letter? Rulani, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Mbata, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Kubone, you're still there? Kubone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Zwanga, you're still there?
Yes, sir.
Libenya, you're still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I was just checking if my people are not sleeping. Okay, so at this point now, for us to answer that question, we said x is less than negative 3 or x is greater than 2. Because, okay, I'm writing 0. Why am I writing 0? X is greater than 2. Because when I'm moving to the other side of 2, I'm moving to the greater than 2. If you check, and I start here and I move to the other side. When I start here and move to the other side, I'm moving to the greater than. So I repeat myself. The answer that we are looking for is x. But how are we going to get x? We look for y. That is how we're going to get x. Let's talk about this one, the last one. F of x is less than g of x. F of x is less than g of x. It means x is moving below. Greater than is moving above. Less than is moving below. Where does f of x start moving below? Where does it end moving below? F of x is moving below from this point, is moving below, up to this point. So, what is the x value of this point? What is the x value of this point? Since you can see I'm not jumping a space, then I'm gonna put my x in the middle. In the middle of negative 3, that is x at E, and positive 2, that is x at A. I'm waiting for a question if you guys have. No questions. Okay? Since there is no questions, we move on. Remember, guys, it's best to ask questions. And I told you many times that I explain better when there are questions because I don't limit myself. But when I explain by myself, I limit myself. It just happens automatically. So we have answered. Oh, we have not answered. This one is saying f of x multiplied by g of x. F of x multiplied by g of x. It means y multiplied by y. Y multiplied by y must be positive or 0. Greater than 0 means positive. I want to take y of f and multiply it y of g. The answer I must get will be positive. Now, this is my advice again to my learners. Because you're talking about f of x and g of x, your focus is y. In this quadrant, your y is positive. So I'm going to write positive throughout where there is positive numbers of y. Positive, up to this point. But when I move to this quadrant, my y is not positive anymore. My y is negative. Even on the other graph, if you check on the other graph, when we move this way, we've got positive values. In the second quadrant, positive values, up to that point. Even this one, positive values also. Positive values. If you are my science doesn't look like positive, sorry for that, please guys. positive values, that is the first and the second quadrant. But if you check the third and the fourth quadrant, all the values of y are negative, 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 negative. The question says, I want to take y and multiply it with y. I want to get a positive number or 0. The question is, where am I going to get that? Where am I going to get that? So the positive is the positive y, the negative is the negative y. So if I take any number at this point, can I use a thick color so that I can be able to rub it? If I take any number at this point, that number will be positive. Multiplied with a number at this point, am I going to get a positive answer or I'm going to get a negative answer? Someone answer me. Am I going to get a positive number or I'm going to get a negative number?
A positive number.
Why am I going to get a positive number? Because a positive number multiplied by a positive number, the answer is positive. Now, I'm going to do that up to here. But here, if I multiply here, I'm going to get 0 at this point. Because at this point, y is 0. Mind you, I'm taking the y values, not the x values. But now, if you guys check, if I take this number here and I multiply with this number here, am I going to get a positive or a negative number? Someone
A negative number.
Thank you. And if you check, it's going to be up to here. If I take a number here and I multiply here, I still get a negative number. What about this side? If I take a number here and multiply with this number here, am I getting a positive or a negative?
Negative.
A negative. So if you guys check, the positive numbers will only be here. That is where I'm going to get the positive numbers. In that space. That is where I'm going to get the positive numbers. Only at that space. Now, the question is, what is the answer at that space? What is the answer at that space? Remember, I used y. I've got f of x and I multiplied with the g of x. We say it's greater or equals to 0. So because I'm moving to that side, and the point that I'm starting at is at this point where x is 2. So I'm going to say when x is equals to negative 2 or is less than negative 2. When x is equals to negative 2, you get 0. But when x is less than 2, we get a number that is positive. Less than negative 2. That is my answer to that question. I'm waiting for a question. I'm wrapping up now. You guys must ask a question as I'm removing this. I'm trying to push time so that you can ask a question. Okay, since you're not asking a question, let's answer the last question. The last question says, determine the length of AK. Determine the length of AK. Determine the length of AK. That is the last question. How do I do that? The length of AK. The length of AK. At this point, we know one value. Is it the x value we know or is the y value that we know?
The x value.
Thank you. Because at any point on this line, the x value is the same. On this line, at any point on that line, the x value is the same. So we know the x value at that point. What is the x value at that point? Negative 2. So we know the x value at that point will be negative 2. X is negative 2. How am I going to get the y value at that point? Take the x value, substitute it on the g graph. Remember the g graph, okay, I'm looking for y. Let me write y. The g graph is negative x plus 2. So endaweni ka x, I'm gonna put negative 2. Gonna remove x. In place of x, then I'm gonna put negative 2. There was a negative that was given to us, and then the negative 2 that we have there. And then my answer will be y is equals to how much? Is it positive 4?
0.
It's 0. I think it's positive 4.
Yes.
Positive 4. Thank you. Now we know the coordinates of k and we know the coordinates of a. What are the coordinates of a? 2 and 0. You guys, I believe I can leave it here. You can calculate the distance now. I'm trying to find a space to write, but now I can't find the space. Okay. Calculate the distance using the coordinates of k and the coordinates of a. Okay. You guys press the calculator. In the meantime, distance of AK will be the square root of x is negative 2 minus x1, that is 2 all squared, plus y2, that is 4, minus y1, that is 0. Okay, then I've got 4 squared 16, 4 squared 16, oh squared, I forgot to put squared there, sorry for that guys. There's a squared here. 4 squared 16, 4 squared 16, 16 plus 16, 32. Square root of 32 will be 4 square root of 2. How much do we get?
4 square root of 2.
4 square root of 2. That is the length of AK. Okay, I'm done here, guys. Tomorrow we're going to do hyperbola and exponential if time allows. So tomorrow we'll be moving to hyperbola and exponential. For now, I'm done here. I'm done here. I hope that whatever that I did here does make some sense. If it does, if it doesn't, make sure that you repeat, you go and double check. But I hope it does everything that I did here. Bye bye till we meet again tomorrow. Okay, on Facebook I'm done. I believe it did make some sense.